Alrighto, so this is the Drupal Core Cross Initiatives meeting for 2019, January 17th. And we have the three of us. So which initiatives do we want to talk about?
I mean, I can't really report for Migrate, but I can report for Media.
Okay.
And that's about it. But Christina, do you want to go first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, that's fine. So from last week, let me check what I talked about. Yeah, so Claro is really moving forward, the new theme that we moved from GitHub to Claro. There's actually more people maybe not getting involved, but at least giving us feedback like about accessibility and so on. So it's really moving forward. It's actually moving so fast that there's not enough work done on the design side, and we need to see how we are going to unblock that because there's not that many people working on the design right now. So we need to find a solution for that. And actually about the Claro theme, we also had a conversation about accessibility and how to handle that. That what we are going to do is probably move forward with whatever we think it's fine, taking into account that most of the components have already, or some of the components already had some accessibility review. And with the controversial ones or the ones that are going to have GS or the completely new ones, we're going to ask for review, but otherwise the final accessibility review is going to happen with the final patch, merging it into core. And what else? Yeah, so the issue that Angie posted about unblocking the next admin UI, it really was really helpful, and some steps have already been made. It's opened some issues in the GitHub dashboard to start discussing some things like creating a new editor role and several things like autosave and several things to discuss for each of them, which is the next step, and if we should actually open or reuse some issues from Drupal.org, like the one, for example, for the editor role. There's an issue already on the issues queue, on the ideas queue. So we're going to discuss all these things. And that's all. Yeah, that's all on our side. We're going to start, this actually unblocked the wireframes design. So now there's the need to have some work done there. So both on the design side for Claro and also to unblock the wireframes and start thinking on the next gen UI. And that's all.
Okay, so I think last week we discussed the design question, and you said that trying to involve more new designers may be more of a bottleneck given the ramp-up time that they need. Is that so? So we did not promote that as an opportunity. Is that still the case, or should we now turn to promote it as an opportunity?
I'm not really sure about what's the best thing to do. I mean, getting someone involved means that you have to invest a lot of time, and they should actually stay for a while to actually get comfortable with the design system and start moving forward. So we're probably going to ask on the design channel if anybody is interested on really investing more time, and otherwise at least letting people know that there's this need. And then see, depending on that, what we can do. And if we really need to find more help, we're going to take next steps that I still don't know which are.
Okay. Okay. So then I can't yet help there, I guess. And the other question is about the final accessibility review. I think it's fine on the core patch if you believe that that they will not require like redesigning a component or that kind of stuff. So I think you are getting that level of feedback.
Yeah,
They will-
on the issue right now. So mainly whatever there is a new component that hasn't been reviewed already by Andrew or someone else is going to be tagged in the issues as needs accessibility review.
Mhm.
And from there, we are not actually going to tag every issue to have an accessibility review for each one. I don't know if I'm explaining myself. So the new components that were not on GitHub and were not reviewed are ideally going to pass for an accessibility review in the Claros issue queue.
Mhm.
So ideally, everything should have been at least reviewed on the design side, probably not on code, but at least on the design side by someone before getting into that huge patch.
Yeah, I think it's good because otherwise you may need to go back to the drawing board with some things that you've already implemented. It could be very painful for you.
Yeah.
So this is a good approach then. Great. All right. Anything else that I can help with?
Not so far. I mean, the most blocking part is the design thing right now.
Yeah. Are you gonna post a call for our people on the design channels?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, if anything comes up, let me know. Happy to help.
Okay.
Adam, you were next.
Okay. So the current situation with media is that we are underway with getting our 8.7 goals done, namely the refactoring and rebuilding of the media library interface for 8.7. And Sean B has contracted with Acquia, I think part-time, to work on that. So honestly, it's not proceeding quite as quickly as I would ideally like, but that just kind of goes with the territory. It's still about as fast as Sean can get to it. And what we're currently doing is one thing we're working on is we're trying to rebuild the interface with vertical tabs, which Christina knows a lot about. And we're also aiming to solve an accessibility issue that we've had for a while. And we're going to solve it generically in views. And that issue is to be able to toggle between the grid view of the media library and the table, and to do that easily. And what we're going to do is we're adding a area plugin to views, which allows you to create a link to another display of the same view very easily. So that patch is coming along. I just had some feedback for it, but we're hopefully going to land that within the next, I mean, I'd like to say within the next week, but you know, I'm very over optimistic about getting things into core. But that would clear a major accessibility issue for us. So basically, like, that's what we're working on. It's just getting the media library looking the way we designed it in Barcelona for 8.7. And I'm not sure what we've been demoing our progress to the UX team. Feedback has been quite positive. So I'm not sure if we're needing any kind of like sign-offs or anything like that. I don't think we do. I think we're just kind of needing to get things to RTBC. But you know, if anybody wants to test stuff, feel free to do that. Let me see, and I can dig up the issues in question.
Yeah, that would be good.
That
would be good to if you want people to test and to know which ones to test.
Yeah, so here's the views issue. That's just adding a new thing to views there, and then the vertical tabs issue is this guy right here.
It's 302.56. 57 and 302.07.6.
Yeah, so those are kind of the most important things on our plate right now. But I'm not sure that we have any real need for outside assistance at the moment. But yeah, there you go.
So the goal is to have media library stable by 7.
I mean, that's the goal. It's given how quickly the code freeze is going to come up on us, it might be a bit of a stretch, but hope springs eternal with this shit.
All right. I think we have 2 months. Yeah, tomorrow. 2 months from tomorrow is alpha. All right. Well, let me know. So I will promote these two. For using feedback.
I mean, maybe if you're going to promote one or the other, maybe the vertical tabs. But even that, I'm sort of hesitant to say. I mean, don't like tweet it out or anything. Just because I don't want to. At this point, the last thing we need on either of these issues is a huge amount of like, well, what about this edge case and what about that edge case? Particularly with the vertical tab stuff, because there are things that we know are not perfect about it, and I really, really do not want that issue to get bogged down with that stuff. But accessibility reviews would be welcome. JavaScript reviews would be welcome because the vertical tabs issue introduces a significant amount of JavaScript changes. So people want to review those by all means. But as far as UX reviews go, if there's something glaring that we've missed, okay. But if it's like a minor, or if it's something that could be done in a follow-up, basically, without blowing the scope up, then maybe that's better deferred for now.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. So it has a needs front-end framework manager review, I see.
Because it has CSS changes.
Okay. Yeah, I will try to ping this to the right people instead of publicly pinging people.
Thank you very much.
All right. I think Sally was next. Hi, Sally.
Hello. Actually, Christina kind of mentioned everything that I was going to mention anyway, so I don't have anything to add other than I'm very happy we have come to some agreement about not blocking everything we come up with this WYSIWYG preview issue.
Good.
That's it.
Anything that we should specifically promote? Or do you need more feedback on the directional feedback on XYZ issue? I don't know the exact title.
If I think more feedback on Eaton's proposed points would be great. Just more feedback from people who are actually customizing their editorial interface. There's been some really good comments on that so far. So yeah, more of that.
Yeah. But that's a little bit dangerous because promoting in general without being clear that we need feedback on that specific points can end up like someone saying, I want paragraph or I want Gutenberg or something like that. So, I'm not really sure how. Maybe it might be more useful to, when we have the open issues, to promote each of them.
Specific ones.
So we are going to have a clear question to ask, not a general, what would you like or what color is your favorite?
What are your dreams?
Yeah.
Aspirations. Okay. All right. Let me know once you have those, or I will see if they came to fruition. Okay. Then Fabian.
Yeah. Hello. We've had a bit slow start with CMI2. So I'm not sure there's really anything in particular to report. I hope that we're gonna get it back on track next week when we have the next meeting. But other than that, everybody's been very busy with work and other projects. So unfortunately.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, not too much for CMA.
Yeah, I think the last time you've been here a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month. I don't know, sometime. A month ago. Yeah. You also said that basically the storage transformer patch is the main goal that you were working on. And
yes, that is still true. So we separated a couple of the issues out, and some of them have been committed. So we can like re-roll it, but there's a couple of other things that I think they just need to, like, small things that need to be addressed from the other ones, and then we can get back to the storage transformer. And the main task there is not so much the transformer itself, but the proof of concept module that will use it. So
in an ideal world, what's your goal for the next 2 months?
In an ideal world, is to have an experimental module that implements more or less what config split does. In probably a more narrow scope, and just doing that in a core experimental module.
There's more big components to land for that before that happens?
No, actually not. So it's the storage transformer and this experimental module that uses it.
Okay.
And then we need like a architectural review of whether this all makes sense. But until we have like a module that can prove that it works, then it's all a bit theoretical.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, the sooner, if you can make the time to work on it, the sooner you can make that time, the better, because the closer we get to end up the middle of March, the more the people who would provide the architectural review will be tied down to review layouts and media and all kinds of other things that also will try to introduce new architectural things at the time.
Do you know when exactly the deadline is for this?
Yeah, so the API, the alpha is March 17th. March 18th, sorry. So it's 2 months from tomorrow. But the later, yeah. So it's a pattern that a lot of new architectural things come up in the last month. And even though all of them are nice and probably ready, the limited number of people who usually have time to review them need to pick their priorities, and they may or may not pick this one. I don't know. Maybe pick this one. It's hard to tell up front. So it's always hard in the last month.
Yeah.
But totally understandable if you don't have time and have a life. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's other things in life than coding.
I know. You may hear my 2 kids in the background playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right. Well, if I can help in any way, then let me know. But last time you said there's a number of people who need to have time, and other than that, it's hard to put random people on this, I guess. But if you have,
exactly. I've been like looking over the issue queue, and there are some people that haven't been really involved, but that are working on this or have been working with in this space, and I'm like reaching out to them and see if they could be motivated. But it's
okay. If there's like smaller things that a more specific set of people can review, I'm happy to point them to that or promote those things.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still the same old topic with the documentation that like it's been stalled. I think
generally documenting the architecture of how things are.
Yeah, also just like documenting the best practices for configuration management in general. Like I think so far it has been like more and more known how to deploy the configuration from one side to the other, but there's a lot of like edge cases that then people are like scratching their heads.
All right. I will see if I can find someone for that.
That would be great. Thanks.
Okay, I have one more question for Adam, in fact. Do you think that so I was on the out of the box meeting, demo meeting, and they were looking at the chances of readiness for layouts and media, because there are two things that they want to support in their demo. And they couldn't tell whether, like, how to integrate media in a useful way until the media library is ready. Would you suggest them to look at integrating the media solutions without library, or should they wait for the library?
I'm sorry. You're asking me if I should tell the out-of-the-box people to use the media library now?
So they are wary of using the library as an experimental state, because they so far had a policy of only using stable modules in the demo. And they may not have enough time to build the demo with media if it's ready around later.
Well, I mean, let me put it to you this way. The media library is not an API. It's just a user interface. So if they're okay with the possibility of the interface changing somewhat, then they go ahead and use it. Because it's really just a wrapper around entity reference field. There's not going to be an update path or anything like that. At least I don't think there will be. Or actually, no, that's not entirely true. Like, there will be some modifications to views and stuff like that, but that's taken care of by media library.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this thing, it's like, it's fairly self-contained. It's definitely not an API. At least it isn't yet. So, I mean, I think if I was being conservative about it, I would say hold off. But if they're more interested in things that demo well, then they could go ahead and use it. But it's if they're being cautious, then maybe now is not the time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe I should ping Christian Fritsch. He was maintaining a patch for a while to convert the demo to media, and maybe that's enough if he keeps that up, and that could be like a drop-in solution once their library is stable, and maybe make it shorter to implement it for them.
I would say this. I mean, using the media module itself, like the base media module, is definitely okay. Using the media library is a little bit less certain right now. But media itself is stable and has been since we committed it to core. So that's not worrying at all.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the feedback. I will pass that on to the demo people since they're not here. All right. Mike, you arrived. You want to talk about Migrate?
Yeah, I guess just briefly. Our last meeting was last Thursday. Our main focus is to get the multilingual stuff stable for 8.7. We're going to sprint hard at mid-camp, which I got to check my calendar, but it's probably right after the alpha of 8.7 comes out. But hopefully the stuff we'll be working on for that will still be able to make it into 8.7 so we can get that stabilized. And so that's the main priority now. And then for 8.8, anything else we need to deprecate before 9.0, including the Drupal 6 sources. So that'll all be in 8.8. So well, that's where we're at.
Are you planning to deprecate that in 8.8, or are you still in 8.7?
The Drupal 6 sources, at the moment, I think the plan is to deprecate it in 8.8. We want to get multilingual stable first, and then 8.8 is, again, currently with Drupal 9 plans, about the last chance to deprecate anything. So we would deprecate them in 8.8, and then for 9.0, we'd have them in a contrib module. Current plans, you know how things change, but.
Right. I'm still happy to help with reviews with the multilingual stuff as I did always. I'm not really proficient in making the patches work, but
Right.
But reviewing if they do what they promise to do, that's easier.
Yeah, we lost Maxicub Maxman as a maintainer, so he was doing a lot of the multilingual stuff. So it's kind of down to Vicky at the moment. She just knows it best, but we're going to try and push through. We identified what was it? 11 issues. I think there were 11 issues that we identified as blockers for multilingual stable. So we got, again, a couple of months to pound through them. So.
Yeah, I'm happy to help there with reviews. All right. Anything else that I can help anyone with? Or I can forward to Angie since she couldn't make it. All right. If not, then thanks everyone. I will try to deliver on all the promises I made. See you online.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.